Hello, everyone. Welcome to the News Browse News broadcast. According to the Epoch Times, U.S. President Trump and Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a phone conversation on April 14th, underscoring the vital importance of maintaining the Strait of Hormuz open and secure. This call came amid heightened tensions in the Middle East and follows the recent U.S.-Iran ceasefire announcement on April 8th. The leaders had last spoken on March 24th after the U.S.-Israel Operation Epic Fury against Iran. The Strait of Hormuz is a crucial global energy choke point through which 20% of the world's oil and most of Qatar's LNG pass. Iran's previous actions, including mining, drone attacks, and seizing tankers, have disrupted traffic and impacted India's domestic LPG supply. In response, the Trump administration initiated a blockade-for-blockade strategy on April 13th, intercepting vessels dealing with Iran, aiming to cut off its economic lifeline after failed nuclear talks. The day before the call, 2 Indian oil tankers carrying Iranian crude were reportedly stranded due to the blockade. Despite past trade frictions, this dialogue signals efforts to stabilize U.S.-India relations, with upcoming diplomatic engagements, including a Quad foreign ministers meeting in May, focusing on energy security and regional stability. According to the Canadian press, the BBC announced plans to eliminate up to 2,000 jobs over the next 2 years, representing a 10% reduction in its annual budget, or £500 million, Brad Opring, $677 million. These significant layoffs, the largest in over a decade for the UK national broadcaster, are a response to inflationary pressures, declining license fee and commercial income, and a turbulent global economy. The majority of these cuts are slated for the fiscal year beginning April 1st, 2027. The announcement comes as former Google executive Matt Britton is set to become the new Director General next month. Following the resignations of his predecessor and head of news over a controversial documentary edit. The BBC, a cultural institution, UPI reports that leftist candidate Roberto Sanchez has advanced to second place in Peru's presidential election, with approximately 90% of ballots counted. Sanchez, from the Juntos por el Perú party, secured 12.05% of the vote, narrowly surpassing far-right candidate Rafael López Aliaga, 11.94%. This positions him to face frontrunner Keiko Fujimori, who leads with 16.9% in a runoff election scheduled for June 7. Sanchez's platform includes sweeping state reforms through a constituent assembly, Peru's entry into the BRICS bloc, and greater state control over strategic resources without expropriation. His rise echoes the unexpected surge of Pedro Castillo in the 2021 election. Despite allegations of systematic fraud from López Aliaga, election observation missions have backed the integrity of the process, attributing counting delays to logistical problems and the technical complexity of 5 simultaneous elections. Electoral officials urge patience as votes from remote rural areas continue to be tallied. The Canadian press reports that Canada is pledging $120 million in humanitarian and development aid for Sudan as the country's brutal civil war enters its 4th year. Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand announced the funding, emphasizing that hunger is being used as a weapon of war in the conflict. The United Nations estimates that over 40,000 people have been killed since the war began 3 years ago, with aid groups suggesting the true death toll is likely much higher. The conflict, stemming from a political struggle between Sudan's military and paramilitary forces, escalated into a severe ethnic conflict in the Darfur region. Canada's aid package includes over $94 million for emergency food and nutrition support and $25 million for development assistance covering schools, trauma support, and sexual violence prevention. While Washington has accused Sudan's Rapid Support Forces of genocide, Minister Anand noted that the determination of genocide rests with international courts, even as grave human rights violations are clearly occurring. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.